What's up, Anwar here. I'm an amateur cyclist. I cover cycling content once a week. If you guys are new here, hit that like and subscribe button to follow along on this journey. Today I'm talking about the Intelligencia Cup and my experience with it, how was the event, and basically what did I learn from it. So let's get into it. So first off, I feel like the most important part is to kind of talk about how was the event, organized, how was my experience. So I'm in the Cat 4-5 category, so I'm just starting off. This is my first year of racing. I just started cycling last June, kind of working on my health, trying to improve all that. So it was really interesting because basically they broke up some of the races into just novice and some, mixed Cat 4-5. And I really liked just the novice races just because I feel like it was a little bit more competitive within there and it wasn't such a giant skill gap. But overall, it was a really fun event. I really liked the fact that there was kind of a lot of people there. It seemed like it was well organized. They had like a hotel that they kind of recommended that I stayed at. And it was at a nice kind of central location. There was still a lot of driving. You got to see a lot of different areas, try a lot of different courses. So, the first one that we did was called like the Leg Breaker, and it was like a big hill up to kind of climb it. But overall, the event was really well ran. You got free SIS gels, there was free coffee, and then kind of stuff to do kind of throughout the communities that you stayed in and kind of raced in. And overall, everyone was super friendly there. I got a ton of advice from everyone in my group in Cat 5, all the way up to Cat 1, like people just kind of talking, being friendly. So it was a really nice environment, really welcoming. So I really enjoyed that and really getting more people's experiences, understanding more how to race and trying to get better, because that's really what I'm trying to do, is just improve myself as a cyclist, get fitter and get better at what I do. So I feel like, especially like doing this one and kind of getting into racing in general, a lot of people are really worried about crashing, just generally getting into a sport, you're kind of always worried about getting hurt. Like, I know when I played hockey, you're worried about when you get hurt. Like, that's always the biggest concern. And I feel like one of the biggest tips for this is really making sure that you're aware of who's around you, kind of protecting that front wheel. That's like one of the pivotal parts, because if someone clips your front wheel, you lose control. So just make sure that you're not lining your front wheel up against someone's back wheel just so you can avoid clipping it. And then also just keeping your heads up when you're into those turns and looking at where you're going so you can really line up and follow, where you want to go. And then one of the pieces of advice that I got was making sure that your inside foot is up, just so that when you're taking those corners, you have more room before you pedal strike, just because people do crash from that as well. And I think in general, the more you race, the more you get used to it. I know by the 9th day, I was just ready to win, trying to get something started. So it was kind of less on the front of my mind than it usually is. And making sure that when you're in those corners, in those turns, that when you have somebody like kind of pushing towards you, or you see somebody kind of moving towards you, you kind of call out that you're on the inside, or just kind of call out where you're at, just so people know, because I know nobody else wants to crash just like you. So just calling that out really helps out. So overall, what did I learn throughout this? I feel like it kind of gets broken into two different categories. So bike handling and then just racing skills. As far as the bike handling goes, like the tip I said about, the pedals, kind of how to line up your bike, and just really working on figuring out your lines. I know in races, like it's a lot different to just kind of pick, here's how to hit this line. You're hitting that same kind of turn over and over again. So to understand really how to pick that, how to hold your bike, how to do that, how to draft better is really a technique that you have to improve and kind of work on, and just really trying to figure out what position you can sit in over time. And those are kind of the things, like as far as like bike handling, just understanding what you can do on your own really helps out. But then the other part of it is how to race. So throughout this experience, one of my biggest learnings is really the fact of edging my aggressiveness. During some of the races, I really tried to start off super hard and stay in the front of the pack. And that didn't help because I didn't have much of a draft around me. During my last race, I kind of just sat further back and I was able to kind of sit in better and, you know, just kind of follow wheels, look for the most aggressive person and pick my lines, and then eventually towards the end kind of work my way up towards the front a little bit more and then just sprint it out. And I feel like understanding what kind of rider you are, like if you're a breakaway rider, whether, you know, you have a better sprint and all that kind of stuff, it's just something that comes with racing more and training more. You just learn that about yourself of like, where can you fit in? How do you do this? You know, and all that kind of stuff just really teaches you, you know, better group riding, better dynamics in general. And then finally, I think the other part that it kind of taught me was just how to corner better with people around me, because it's tight packed, especially in the Cat 4-5 field. You know, you might have 3 or 4 across or more that are kind of trying to take this turn, so it gets kind of tight. So you really have to kind of hold your line, call out what you're doing, and just making sure that you're picking that line and staying on it as you go through. And then also just, you know, how to hit those turns is another important part. So, you know, hitting the apex and following through is what you want to do, but then in the race category, like while racing, you might not have that opportunity. So I think those are my biggest learnings throughout it. I know I really need to get stronger. I want to get better at racing and kind of figure out how to do it. And I'm kind of excited to see where this takes me, how it goes for me. Okay, so overall results for me throughout this series, they weren't really the best. My best finish was the last day. It was 14th place out of about 50 something riders. And it was really the course that I wanted. It was flat 4 corners. So I kind of sat in the back like I talked about earlier, and I just kind of waited till the end, and then I worked my way up and I was able to do a sprint finish. Which I also lost my water bottle, and that made it a lot tougher for me because I had no water throughout the entire thing. And it was really hot, so I was just dying of thirst. But, you know, I know that throughout this, it's just like, you know, I'm really trying to learn how to ride with these groups better, how to corner better. So even if I didn't get the results I wanted, making sure I'm taking these experiences, racing more, I think I'll definitely improve. Up next for me, I have the Edwardsville Criterium in August. And I might do another day if I can find a cheap enough hotel in St. Louis. So that should be a fun experience to do 2 days of racing again. And then really picking up group rides and doing faster rides. So I just did one the other day. It's what they call the B+ group. And I feel like that one's more accurate to how the 4-5s were, at least this week. So I want to keep doing those. Just to, you know, practicing with the group, understand, you know, what are your limitations, how to, you know, take pools that aren't overly draining so I can keep staying with the group and stuff like that. I feel like it will really help me progress my skills and just get better. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them down in the comments below. I'm excited to keep taking you guys along on this journey. So once again, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button for more content like this, kind of talking about my experiences, talking about what I learned, and just how to improve myself as a cyclist. I'm thinking about this winter releasing the full clips of these videos and kind of talking more through them, but just since I don't have a lot of experience yet, I don't feel like it's helpful to talk about that, but just kind of right now talk about my experiences is kind of what's more helpful for people, just so they get an insight into like a first-time cyclist experiences at these crits and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what next week is yet, but I'll see you guys there.